There we go. We're not going to hang around with lots of music today. No. We're going to get right into it. How are you all doing? Welcome back to the Kev Baker Show. Bakerville, as we call it in here. I know, more new tunes, right? And I know they're not the best tunes in the world, but they'll do. They'll do for now. And I want to introduce you to the newest member of the KBS team. Yeah, I know. Some people didn't even know we have a team here. Oh, come on. I'm a multiple character man. We've got Kev. We've got that other lunatic called Dave. He kicks about somewhere. We've got Anne. We've got Big Kevin. We've got Coney. You can still see Coney. You see, the NVIDIA AI, it knows Coney's a thing. And you know what? It also knows that the Ailey thing is a thing. Look at that bad boy. This here crashed in Roswell in 1947. Yep, it did. Now, I know what you're saying, Kev. That just looks like a stuffed toy. You doubters. You skeptics. You're not paying attention enough, are you? So, big shout out to somebody that is now at legend status in my life. Spooky Andy. There's a funny story about this little alien that came from the alien. I call it Ailey thing. That's what I'm going to call it. Ailey thing. That's what I'm calling it, right? The Ailey thing from the alien. There he is, yeah. And when he arrived this morning, right? When he arrived this morning, I got super duper excited. Not because I was waiting for a gift from my good friend Andy. No. I've been waiting for a parcel coming from Australia. I have, yep. And it's got goodies in it. It has. I don't mean like that. There wouldn't be contraband in there. No, honest, there wouldn't. Honestly. There's kangaroos. There's koalas. I don't mean like literally a full kangaroo. If a full kangaroo turns up, I'm going to be in big trouble. But can you imagine my confusion this morning when I immediately got thrust into the outback? I was feeling all Australian. I thought I was going to have a jar of Vegemite to tuck into. They love their Vegemite down there, right? And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, not very Australian looking. An alien with New Mexico on it. And then I'm also looking at it thinking, so where'd I get into it? Do the math. PPP, folks. Hope you're all having a great day. I know I am. And then Nano Girl is going to be along with us very shortly on the show. Anne as well. She thought it was a parcel that came from Australia. We were both looking at each other. Very, very confused indeed. Quite spooky, right? Anne stood right behind me with a big luminous orange vest on. And the NVIDIA AI is so clever. So clever it knows, no. That ain't what we're looking for here. Looking for KBS, right? So, yes, indeedy. As you can tell, I am in a very, very upbeat mood today. I've got Nano coming on. I've got my alien. Anne's just in from work. I got my coffee. Running out of PPP, but that's okay. Because I know that the universe will sort that. Because if you're paying attention, if you're paying really close attention, you will start to see that the universe does work in a miraculous, mysterious way. And that's why we're back here today to have a pre-show talking about coincidence. Yeah, well, we kind of got into this yesterday in the conversation about time and simulations and free will versus determinism. And I gave an example about how myself and Anne met. And after the show, I went away and I thought about it a bit more. And I'm going to have to share with you maybe the full story. Because I kind of gave you the part where I used the example if we hadn't met at the work where we both randomly got a job, then it would have happened some other way because Kevin would have came along. He was already going to come along, right? But then when I went away after the show, and I've already shared this with Nano Girl today, I kind of laid out the weird coincidences that kind of strung throughout mine and Anne's lives that took our paths very close indeed on multiple occasions to meeting. And that's when it starts to get a whole lot weirder. And that's when you start to think, well, is there such a thing as coincidence? Is there? I don't know. We're going to talk about it though. And I've got 16 good ones for you. We're going to rattle through them. I can't go anywhere. I just can't. It would be wrong if I went anywhere without dipping my toe. And it's a big smelly toe at that. So if you're even the most fond lover of feet, mine are not good for you. I don't know how we got into my toes. I don't know. Dipping my toe in the chat room. That's what it was. And don't be an amateur. Make sure you're set to live chat. Come on, get with it. Just keep you on your toes, you know. So we've got King Sweet in there. Connie, Greg, Connie again, King. I can't go on like that. We've got Drone Free Zone. We do. He also goes by the name of Aaron. Good to see you, man. We've got one Polly kicking about in there. I hope you've got your audio issues fixed, brother. Because I know you've got the bug. You've got the bug to talk to people. It's a good bug. It's a bug I've had for years now. St. Marionette, Bearded Traveller is lots of smiley faces. He's either laughing at me or with me. Either way, I'm good. All Rise, the King, again. I forgot to say it the first time. His Majesty. We've also got... Who else? John Krakow in there. Awesome, man. I know, I need a disco ball. Actually, they've got one of them on After Effects. Don't tempt me. St. Marionette loves Bakerville. So do I. And we're going to be pimping it out even more over the weeks and months and years. I ain't going anywhere. Nope, not until they put me in a wooden overcoat. I'm going out the door feet first. That's when you get rid of me, folks. You're stuck with me. Now remember, there's always free will to watch. Or is there? Were you always, like, the minute you were born, you were always going to end up here listening to some crazy Scotsman in the corner of his living room in a flat in one of the wildest areas of Glasgow, and you still can't see Anne? That is tremendous. Oh, there's a hand, see? How clever is that, though? See, it knows skin tone and it's going for you. And things like that. And morphing in and out of reality. This is the world I live in. Now you get to see my world. Rick, good to see you. Bearded Traveller. Was the Bearded the first one? I think he was. Spooky Andy. You the man. You were already the man with that car you had, dude. Damn. I mean, I know you showed me and Scotty you in the garage and things, but damn. Did you undersell that or what? People say I'm modest. No. Andy has to be the most modest in the world. We've got Armand in there, our famous dog walker, fellow Scotsman, equally qualified maniac like myself. How you doing, brother? Yes. Should I get to today's topic? Should I just sit here and chat with people? I probably could. You know, one of these nights, I think I'll just do an all-nighter. I'll just sit and I'll talk absolute. Yeah, I can do that all night long. I can talk all night long. Anne's definitely agreeing with it. Maybe I'll do it. Yes, I can talk that stuff for hours, Anne, admittedly. So anyway, coincidences, right? And I was reading today, if you believe in coincidences, perhaps you're not paying attention. I know Nano really got thinking. Hey, CJ, good to see you, brother. Woody! I'm such a child. Your name will always make me laugh. What can I say? We've got Pierrette. Pierrot. Pepe Vasu. So, poppycock, whatever. Probably what I'm saying about free will or coincidence has been purely the stuff of illusion. But could it be? Could it be that coincidences are actually us, if you do believe in just things randomly happening and lining up the way that they do at times? Is it just one of those things? Is it a quark? A quirk? Not a quark. I'm going quantum already. Is it a little quirk that happens? Just coincidental, literally. Or is there more at play here? Or do our brains look at random pieces of information and we try and cram it into some understandable, connected narrative? I don't know. But then you come across some coinky dinkies, as I like to call them, because there ain't such a thing as a coincidence. Not if you're paying attention. Some people say it's God's way of keeping us on our toes as well. I don't know. Could be a sign that we're recognizing the patterns, the code in the Matrix. I like that idea. But whatever it is, it's going to make for some fun woo before we head on over with Nano Girl. And let's start with the coinky dinky that we kind of laid out yesterday. Just a coincidence, me and Anne randomly met in a work. Never knew each other before. Totally random meeting. But there we are. We landed in the same job in when, Anne? Year 2000? Year 2000. So, year 2000, first time I ever met Anne. First time she ever met me. And it wasn't some romantic love story. There wasn't music playing and, you know, it wasn't one of those things. She thought I was a bit of a dick, to be honest with you, to start with. But hey, everyone does. And once you get to know me, like all of you, yeah, I'm a lovable dick, right? But we met when we were, what age were we, Anne? How long I've been with you? Yeah, 24, 20 years ago. So anyway, we were a lot younger. I was a lot better looking. I had a lot more of my own teeth in my mouth and things like that. But yeah, we got a job and we met, and here we are now. Now, before that, you'll all probably be aware that I was away in the army. So when I grew up, I was always wanting to leave Fort Augustus. I hated it. I wanted to get to the big city. I wanted to go and live a life. I wanted to see the world. And I knew I didn't really have the brains to kind of make too much of myself. So the army, that was something I always wanted to do. And when I got to about 16, 17, I went to the careers office and I told them I wanted to be a nurse, a medic in the army. I know, a combat medic. I know, very woke, isn't it, for Kev? Wasn't that woke back then. But that's what I wanted to do. And at the time, this is where it gets weird and this is where there's the tie-in and this is why I have to sit back and think, wow, was the universe attempting to put things in place earlier on in my life, way before I met Anne, that could have arranged things so we might have met? Turns out that old Kev here from Inverness and Anne from the other end of Scotland in Glasgow, well, when I went to the careers office and told them about the combat med thing, at the time they weren't training nurses in the army. So they said, if you really want to do that, and I think they were trying to put me off it, so I'd make go into the signals, they said, you're going to have to go away to nursing college. And that's going to take you about 3 or 4 years. It was called Project 2000 back then. They changed the way that they were training nurses. It was more in the college, less hands-on. Didn't make sense to me. Nurses do things, right? You can be in a college for. So I went away there and didn't last. I only done a year. You try putting a guy like me, and I think there was maybe a handful of other guys in a nurse's home with over 300 rooms. Do the math. Not much nursing got done. It is what it is. So before it killed me, I decided I need to get out of here. I'm not going to be a nurse, but I still want to be a soldier. So I go away. I do the soldier thing. Turns out that very same year when I left school, Anne was leaving school in Glasgow. Now, Glasgow is absolutely full of universities and colleges, some of the best in the world. But she wanted to go into forensic science. And the only place that was doing forensic science at the time, you're probably going to have guessed it, right? it was Aberdeen. And it would have been the building right next to the building where I was doing my nursing. Now, you might think, just coincidence, right? Right? Well, maybe. So then I go away to the army, and I had no intentions of ever coming back to Scotland. And I've told the story before of the fortune teller who kind of laughed and joked and told me she loved a man in uniform, even though I wasn't in uniform. We were at the Highland Games, and she's looking out the window, and I had a girlfriend at the time, and going out with somebody, you don't look long term. You think you're with them for the rest of your life, right? Romeo and Juliet stuff, young dreams going on in your head. And this fortune teller, she says, Kev, you've got two definite paths. I see them clear as day. And she says, one of them, woof, you just go straight forward, on with a career, great family. You basically head towards the goals you've set yourself. She says there's another path, though. It's not as smooth a path, but it's nothing drastic about it, nothing wrong with it, but it won't take you on the career you want to go on. And in fact, and this is what really spooked me out at the time, and it made me laugh at the time, because she pulled back the curtain, and she said, one day, though, if you're on this path, then you're going to end up speaking to thousands of people. Now, admittedly, 58 people isn't thousands, right? But it is when we go on to TFR. And that path that I had no intention of taking, the one that took me out of the army, the one that took me back to Scotland, the one that seen me going homeless, all of that in its own weird, coinky-dinkle little way, took me onto the path where perhaps, now that I look back with hindsight, perhaps I was always destined to be on. And there's a little weird bit of coincidence, right? So anyway, with that said, me and Anne absolutely we're at each other's throats. It's not young love every day. There's no happy ending to this story, but there's a lot of coincidence in there. Unless you're paying attention. Because if you're paying attention, maybe there's more to these coincidences than meet the eye. And if you ain't into my coincidence, I've got you covered. That's what we do here on KBS. Got plenty to get into. I have got 16 of the crazy coincidences that are hard to believe actually happened. What's going on, Trips? Everything okay? Yes? No? No? Oh, yes. The boy had his first day in college today. Actual physical college. Went there, into the place, met other humans. Good stuff. So, yeah, it's been a great day. So, we're going to get into coincidences eventually, finally, maybe. I'll come into the chat soon, don't worry. I'm on a roll right now, folks. You don't interrupt me when I'm on a roll. So it says most of us, or most, if not all of us, have experienced some sort of coincidence in our lives. Maybe you said something at the same time as somebody else, or perhaps you bumped into an old friend in the most unlikely of places. When you say that thing at the same time as somebody, are you literally downloading the same information from the ether that they are at the same time? That thought that we both think is original, but really it wasn't. It's just we both picked up on it at exactly the same time. Now, that's a weird one, isn't it? So, but there are those funny little would you believe it type coincidences and plot twists. And then there are those holy crap, that is literally unbelievable types of coinky dinkies. Yeah, I do. I call them coinky dinkies in real life, away from the camera, away from all of this. Yeah, me and Dave, we do it. Take a look at the pictures below for a few amazing facts from somebody predicting the sinking of the Titanic 14 years before it happened, to the Simpsons predicting the Orange Man's election triumph. And we've seen some of them, but some of these I haven't seen. And this one here, the separated twins with the almost identical lives. So, it says here, a set of twins from Ohio who were separated at birth grew up without any knowledge of each other's existence. The lives did, however, share a number of strange similarities. They were both named James on their adoption. They both grew up to be police officers. And both of them married a woman named Linda. But that's not all. Each had a son, one named James Allen, and the other one named James Allen. different spelling, admittedly, and each also had a dog named Toy. Now, both brothers later got divorced and both end up remarrying women named Betty. All coincidence? Really? I tell you, the odds on all of that lining up. Well, big odds. Number 2, did Edgar Allan Poe have a time machine? Very relevant to what we were talking about yesterday. You see how either that's a coincidence, right? Time's coming up. Is that a coincidence, or are we on the right track? You could drive yourself mad easily doing this, you know. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. So did he have a time machine? I don't know. Did Edgar Allan Poe have a time machine? Some people think so. How else could he have known about an event almost half a century before it happened? Now, in his book called The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket, the author described how 4 sailors who survived the sinking of their ship were forced to eat a rather unfortunate cabin boy. Whoa! No need. It took a dark twist. And although Poe claimed that the story was based on real events, it wasn't actually true. And 46 years later, however, a boat really did sink, and the members of the crew who were rescued were forced to eat, you guessed it, yeah, poor cabin boy. The cabin boy's name? You guessed it, same as the first one, Richard Parker. Richard Parker. Dang, dude. That was a dark one. Mark Twain predicted his own demise. Did he? Did the famous writer Mark Twain predict his own death? Well, if he didn't, it was a major coincidence. Okay, I almost read that totally wrong. The writer was born in 1835 when Halley's Comet was passing the Earth. It only passes once every 76 years or so, but Twain predicted that he would die on its next passing. I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835, he said in 1909, and it's coming again next year, and I expect to go out with it. The writer passed away on the very day of its appearance in 1910. That's creepy. That is creepy. Come on. Hey, Dead GPK, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Hey, Jason, my brother, Tiffany as well, John. They're all here today, I tell you. Next one. Miss Unsinkable. Now, I think we've done this one before, but it's only quick. Depending on how you look at it, Violet Jessup was either one seriously lucky lady, or she was one seriously bad omen. The stewardess and nurse was on the HMS Olympic when it struck the HMS Hawk. She was on board the HMHS Britannic when it sank after hitting a sea mine, and she was also travelling on, you guessed it, the Titanic when it sank after hitting an iceberg in the North Atlantic. No wonder she later became known as Miss Unsinkable. Ouch. That's almost like a Final Destination, right? It's almost like it was written somewhere that there would be a boat involved in her life or the end of it. That's what it feels like to me. Can you be just randomly that unlucky? Can you? Are you literally a bad omen? I don't know. Again, remember, folks, there's one real strict rule we have around here. What I say is me just throwing my ideas out there. You know I'm not telling you what to think. That's not my mission here. Wouldn't even dare. All I can hope to do is give you something to think about, hopefully give you something to laugh about, and then get you in the mood. Get in the mood for Nano Girl coming on really soon. So number 5, the case of Anthony Hopkins in a rather rare book. Great actor, Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. When Anthony Hopkins was preparing for his role in The Girl from Petrovka, he wanted to find a version of the book written by George Pfeiffer so he could study it before filming began. But however, or wherever he looked, he couldn't find a copy until one day, while sitting on the subway, he found a copy on the carriage in which he was travelling. But that's not the end, because when Hopkins later met the author, Pfeiffer told him that he also didn't have a copy of the book. Why? I know what's coming here, don't you? Because he'd lent his last one to a friend who then accidentally lost it on the subway. Oh, damn, dude. That's a good one. Hey, Mesut Ozil. I like these ones. Coincidence or reincarnation? This guy here used to be a good footballer a couple of years ago. Arsenal's destroyed him. I don't know about the guy back in 1988. He died in 1988, this dude? That looks like it should be 1888. Alright, he died in 1988 and he was born a bit weird. I mean, you got to say, there's definitely a bit of familiarity about the old eyeballs there. Wonder if this dude could play football. Says here, the founder of the Ferrari company, Enzo Ferrari, probably not football, but a damn good driver, died on August the 14th, 1988. Just a month later, on October 15th, Arsenal footballer Mesut Ozil was born. And take a look at their pictures side by side. Massive coincidence or reincarnation? Well, we would need to throw him behind the wheel of a Ferrari, and he probably owns a couple, being a Premiership footballer. It's the one way we could maybe get an indication, right? We've seen this one. We've seen The Simpsons predicting Orange Man. Weird. The Simpsons is a weird show. You can make a case for them hiding things in plain sight, but you can also make an equally compelling case for them. Just one of them, the writers, something that goes on there, the energy, they're tapping into things. I don't know. It's like a cartoon crystal ball. It is. So the Simpsons have been known to accurately predict all sorts of things, but maybe their most impressive prediction of all, and also the most relevant right now, oh, they had to, didn't they? Was guessing that Orange Man would become president. We didn't see that coming. I bet he did. I think he's seen it in a chronovisor, but that's for my book. You didn't see it coming. But the Simpsons definitely saw it way back in the year 2000, although these pictures featured here are from a 2015 episode. Either that or it's one seriously creepy. Coinky dinky. We don't do them. So, the Dutch cyclist who escaped not one but two plane crashes. Come on. Come on. Final destination. Not your time, my friend. Believe it or not, Dutch cyclist Martin de Jong has escaped not one but two major plane crashes in his life. Not only was he supposed to be on board that flight 370 before deciding to take a flight that departed just an hour earlier, he was also supposed to be on Malaysian Airlines Flight 17, the one that went down over Ukraine in 2014, before changing to a different flight in order to save money. Yeah, he thinks that's why he done that. He thinks that's what was happening. Or was there some hand guiding him? I liked what somebody in the chat said yesterday. Almost like our higher selves. They're the ones that are fully in control. They maybe even pick out the kind of life lessons that they want us to experience, that thus they experience in a way. I like that. I like that kind of idea. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but how do you explain something like that? Come on. Just a coincidence, Kev. It's just a coincidence. The man who predicted the sinking of that ship. Again, the ship keeps coming up with us, doesn't it? And ZX81, big shout out to ZX. I wish I'd looked at Discord when I was doing the stream, because he was pointing out the fact that, what are they talking about? The Northern Lights affected the Titanic? What, are they using GPS back in the early 1900s or something? No, of course they weren't. Yeah, there was a huge couple of flaws in that story. But hey, don't let that get in the way of a bit of woo, right? So it says 14 years before that ship sunk. In 1898, Morgan Robertson, great Scottish name by the way, a fantasy writer from the US, nothing to do with Scotland, wrote about a ship sinking in a novella called Futility. The ship in the book was called the Titan, but that's not the end of the similarities. For example, like the real Titanic, the Titan was described as unsinkable. They also both had insufficient lifeboats, and they both collided with icebergs in the North Atlantic. And if that isn't worth a, I don't know what is. I just don't know what is.
How dare you?
I will dare, and I will keep on daring, Greta. It's my stream, and I'll dare if I want to. This one here has to be the weirdest, creepiest, strangest example of woo I have ever come across in this lifetime or any of my previous lifetimes. I can safely say that. You've all heard this one, right? I mean, I'm preaching to a choir here. Surely you've heard about the Lincoln Kennedy. I can't call it coincidences. I just can't call it coincidences, right? Give you a taste of it. Two of America's presidents, namely Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, shared a multitude of barely believable coincidences. Both were killed from gunshot wounds to the back of the head. Yep, back and to the right. Both both passed away on a Friday. Both before a celebration. Kennedy before the eve of Thanksgiving, and Lincoln right before Easter. And each of them were accompanied by their wife and another couple, but there's more. Both had a friend called Billy Graham. Both had 4 children. Both had secretaries named after the other. Kennedy's was called Mrs. Lincoln, and while Lincoln's secretary was called John.
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Maybe he was woke, who knows? And both of their successors were vice presidents called Johnson. And it goes far, 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 far deeper than just that there. Go and look into it, folks. It's astounding. And even if some people say, oh, well, they've kind of like changed little bits and they've moved bits here and there. Even that aside, come on. Pay attention. The universe, the code is there. Coincidence is part of the code. Deep, right? Don't know. 11. Did the license plate number of Archduke Franz Ferdinand car hold a secret message? Did it? Did it? Says here, World War I began after Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in Sarajevo on the 28th of June 1914. Now, the car in which he was travelling at the time of his murder bore a license plate with the number A 111118. And what's so strange about that? Well, World War I officially ended on Armistice Day, 11th of November, 1918. Otherwise written, whether you're in America or in the UK, it's 11/11 either way. 18. Just a coincidence, bro. Nothing. Stop being stupid, Kev. You're stretching it. I'm just pointing out what's there, folks. What you do with it, it's up to you. You know, the double tragedy on the Hoover Dam. What an impressive. Actually, when you look at that there, it's actually a mind-blowing piece of engineering, isn't it? Amazing, amazing. I watched a documentary one time on the building of that. Fascinating. If I was to go to America again, I only went to Florida, barely seen anything. Orlando, strip bars, Disney World, strip bars. That was about it. But nah, there's some things in America I'd love to see, and that would definitely be one of them. So it says down here, 112 people passed away, and they were associated with the building of the Hoover Dam. But there's a strange coincidence between the first and the last men to lose their lives during its construction. And the first man to pass away was a surveyor called George Tierney, who drowned in the Colorado on December 20th, 1922, while looking for an ideal place for the dam. The last man to pass away, Patrick Tierney, George's son, who also died on December the 20th, 1935. So I'm going to leave the last 3 for a little moment. I'm going to get a little drink of my coffee. I'm going to have a little pee. I encourage you to do the same. Stretch your legs, scratch your head, scratch, whatever you've got to do. Whatever you have to do, I'll be back with you in just a moment and we will do the final three. And then we'll get ready. We'll get ready for just another week in 2020. Welcome to the indeed. I'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere, you cool folks. A good question. Was it Abraham or was it Ma'am?
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Oh, I love you people. You're as crazy as I am. Some groovy music I've got kicking about today, yeah? Oh, I tell you. The mission I go on to find and source this very best of music that I bring to the stream. I tell you, it's blood, sweat and tears all the way, ladies and gents. You should hear the ones I reject before the ones that actually come on that we play. Oh, I tell you. Whoa! Not good. I'm surprised my hard drive hasn't packed in yet. It's all the threes somewhere out there right now. If you are in a place where it's 3:33, you know there's a Mason happy somewhere, right? You know it. He's aroused. 33% aroused. But anyway, before I slip into absolute stupidity and madness, I need to stay focused because I haven't got long left with you. And then I'm going to head on over. I'm going to get our sister, the Nano Girl, and we're going to get right into it. And I hope you can all join me for that. It's going to be really good. I know it is. I haven't even seen the slides yet, and I know it's going to be good. Nano always delivers. She's like the postman.
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
I do apologize. It's definitely a postman. Definitely. Okay. I misgendered. I take that one back. Postperson. Yes. There we go. See? I'm nice and woke, me. I've got it all going on. Number 13. Unlucky for some. Ooh. American in Paris survives the Bataclan and that day in 9/11. Tell me that isn't some Final Destination weird hocus pocus stuff going on there. I shouldn't been unlucky enough to be in those two places. Separated by what, 14 years? That's crazy. An American named Matthew survived last year's attack on the theatre in Paris by lying down and just hoping for the best. And what's even more amazing is that 14 years earlier on that day in September, he narrowly avoided that attack when the plane struck one of the towers while he was passing the building on his way to a meeting. That's heavy. That's heavy. Damn. The last, or the first and the last soldiers from World War One. Okay, what are we getting here? Okay. So the first and the last British soldiers, may they rest in peace, brothers, killed in the First World War, are buried in Belgium's St. Symphorien Cemetery. Their graves are located just 6 meters apart, and their headstones face each other, which is a major coincidence considering that this arrangement wasn't at all planned. You've got to be kidding me on. So the first person registered to go, and the last person at the end of the fighting to go, out of everywhere, they end up in 2 headstones 6 meters apart. You can't tell me. No, somebody must have planned for that. Please. It'd be more comfortable, right? Wow, that's weird. Hadn't heard that one, I don't think. So, the warning inscription on the tomb of Tamerlane. On June 20th, 1940, Soviet archaeologists uncovered the tomb of Tamerlane in what is now Uzbekistan. Tamerlane, who saw himself as Genghis Khan's heir, was a Turco-Mongol conqueror and the founder of the Timurid Empire. Are they the same as timorous little beasties that Rabbi Burns had? Probably not. In Persia and Central Asia. A warning inscription on his tomb read, "Whomsoever opens my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I." So, clearly not superstitious, the Soviet archaeologists. Ignored the warning and opened the tomb anyway. 3 days later, the big man from World War II, right bad guy, you know him with the tash, he launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest military invasion of all time upon the Soviet Union. Whomsoever opens my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I. Yeah. He pretty nailed it. So number 16, last but not least, the Catherine Eddowes and Mary Kelly coincidence. On the night of September 29th, 1888, great year, 3-year Celtic were formed, at around 8:30, that's 9:30 over here now, no coincidence there then, Catherine Eddowes was found lying drunk in Aldgate High Street in London. Oh, I know what happened to her. She was taken into custody and released at 12:55 a.m. when she was sober enough to go home. Now, upon leaving, she gave the police a fake name. Mary Kelly. The same night she was released, Catherine Eddowes was murdered by Jack the Ripper, who then went on to do another woman named, and you guessed it, you guessed it, that name? It was Mary Kelly. Just coincidence, bro. Nothing to see here. Kev, you're crazy, man. All these things just happen by chance, bro. You're mad, right? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But I'll leave you to think about that. And I'll leave you a little question. I'll come back and get it off the chat room. Coincidences. Are they just that? Just merely random happenstances that line up from time to time and our brains recognize them? Or is it the code? 1 for just a coincidence, bro. 2 for a whole lot more. 1 for coincidence, 2 for more. Get your votes in now. 1 for just a coincidence, bro. Number 2 for get out of here. That's some freaky woo, dagnammit. I'll be back in just a moment. Let's fly through Bakerville. Let's do it. In fact, we need different tunes. DJ, sort it. Boom. Yep, there's definitely a lot of twos kicking up in there. My alien's got no head, man. My alien. Me like my alien. Yep. Andy, telling you, man. It's just as well as alien can tell no tales. Let me tell you. Indeed. But anyway, folks, what you say in the chat room? It's looking pretty much like everyone is in agreement. We don't do coinky dinkies around here. We don't do them. We do the art. We certainly have them on our posters, but that's as far as they go, right? We don't do coinky dink. No, it's the code. And like that quote I seen today, if you believe in coincidences, you ain't paying attention. Bill Bean, Joe Joseph, they've often told me that God, the creator, the person who programmed the Matrix, whoever brought all of this into being, whatever it is, whoever she is, whatever it is, I have no idea. Better than us, bigger than us, that came up with all of this, right? Everything. But there's these little road signs, there's these little markers that when you start to tune into it all, when you start to try and take apart the game, I don't know if it's like little Easter eggs, like in a computer game, like little rewards that are left for us. I remember when I used to see all the threes on the clock, wake up in the morning, 333. Seen people in the chat room picking up on it today. 333, any number sequence like that. Might be 1212, you know? Anything. I've heard people saying that's almost like a confirmation from the universe. Whatever you're thinking at that time, whatever you're doing, it's almost like a little cosmic pat on the back. And if you're paying attention enough to catch that, I think you're almost one step ahead, or you're maybe in step with the game. Doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. Doesn't mean that we're worse than anyone else. I can guarantee we're a little bit crazier than everyone else, right? But in a good way. Because we're just trying to figure out what the heck this is all about. And the whole coincidence thing, I think it might seem fun and a light topic, but I think it is so significant. In fact, I don't think there's any coincidence that we ended up talking about coincidence today. Oh, that's a rabbit hole you could quickly descend down, right? I hope you've enjoyed this little stream that we've done. I hope those coincidences gave you something to think about. There's twos are still flying into the chat room. I seen my good friend in there, Nancy. Nancy, so good to see you kicking about again. Nice fun content here. None of the drama, none of the wackiness. All good in the hood. We're going back into these quantum rabbit holes, and of course the woo. But of course, after the break, I'm saying the break, I need to go and get Nano Girl. Yes, because the main game in town is only 16 minutes away. I'd love for all of you to head on over to TFR. Let's take that energy, head on over there. You might be in the Discord. In the Discord, I have been known to sometimes turn my camera on. So it's almost like you get to see it as well, but you need to be in the Discord. You need to be in our club. Yes, indeed. All you need to do is join the Discord. It's totally free. There's no creepiness. But it's somewhere you can hang out 24/7, where you're not going to get people telling you their version of events and shouting at you and almost truth vomiting at you. Nah, we're a really sensible kind of, I don't want to say level-headed mob, but I think if you like the stream, you're going to love the buzz that we've got over there. So I'd love for you, if you want, head on over to Discord, join us over there. Whenever there's a new big story in the world that we can all dive into, then we're going to use it for that. We'll research it on the fly. We have fun. We've got the jukebox. We've got the open mic. We've got Polly. Lydia, if you're in Discord, you just go to Discord. It's as simple as that. Usually ZX or one of the people drops a link to the room that you click into, and then it all comes up. It all comes up like full HD, looking good. And Nano will be with me, so you won't have to put up with just me. So listen, on that note, I'm going to head on over to the website now, kevbakershow.com. I'm going to get Nano Girl's slides up on there so that all of you can follow along, whether you watch or just listen to the show. Those notes that Nano takes 2 weeks to put together. 2 weeks. And I know she was right up until an hour before the show putting the finishing touches on this. She didn't know what to call it today. But I think this encapsulates everything. Just another week in 2020. Welcome to the Yes, and on that note, folks, I'm going to love you. I'm going to leave you. And just think about that. As CW Chanter says, if you haven't been told already today that somebody loves you, you have now. Because I do love you. I'm out of here. So until next time, folks, keep it real. And remember, you are the change. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo.
Woo.